Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So excited to have you all here as we let people continue to trickle in. Would love for you all to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're zooming in from, what made you curious to join today. Would love to make this an intimate, interactive session. Since we have a small group, we want to get to know you. And we're so grateful to have you all joining us this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. So let us know where you're zooming in from. Want to make this an interactive experience. We're so grateful to have you all joining us today. I will kick us off in the chat and share where I'm zooming in from, and then would love for you all to do the same. And we'll keep letting folks trickle in, but so grateful to have you all joining us and love to see representation around the country. Super grateful you're all spending time with us this morning. And I will go ahead and share my screen and kick us off and get us started. So today we are talking about raising curious kids, and we're going to share a little bit of background on Curious Cardinals, who we are, what we do, and would love to start by sharing who I am so you know who this voice is talking to you. I'm Jules. I started at Curious Cardinals as a mentor when I was a student at Northwestern, and I'm on our full-time team and have the honor and pleasure and privilege of supporting our parent community, which means I'm in contact with amazing parents like Kanika, so I'll let her briefly introduce herself as well, since you'll be hearing from her during the Zoom today.
Thank you, Jules. It's a pleasure to be here and welcome to everyone who's logging on. I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I am a former CNN anchor, began my career in broadcast news, and I'm now the podcast host of a show called That's Total Mom Sense. And I have to give credit to my kids because they are the reason I had a complete pivot in my career. I often say motherhood didn't end my career in media, it catalyzed a new one. And I have 3 kids. Krish and Suhana are my twins. They're 9 years old in 3rd grade. And Shrey is my younger one, not too far behind. He's 7 and he's in 2nd grade. And I was introduced to Curious Cardinals a few years ago and had enrolled all of them in the program and have nothing but amazing things to say.
Amazing. Well, I'm so grateful to have you joining us here today. And as a former journalism major at Northwestern, I have so much admiration for your career, and we're so lucky to have you in our orbit as a Curious Cardinals parent and supporter. And throughout the conversation, Kanika will be sharing a bit more of her experience, but just to give everyone a little bit of framing. Love it. Just to give everyone a little bit of framing, again, we want to make this an interactive session. Love everyone introducing themselves in the chat. Keep telling us, feel free to write throughout. We are here, and we want to make this interactive, so you're welcome to ask questions throughout. We'll have time for Q&A at the end, but feel free to ask questions in the chat, or at the end you can even unmute and ask questions live. But just to give everyone a little bit of context about what Curious Cardinals is, who we are, what we do, we are a one-on-one mentorship platform. So we help students with real-world projects and project-based learning to build curiosity and confidence in the timeless skills that matter most in this world that we're living in right now. And to share a little bit about how this all came to be, we were founded by Audrey and Alec. They were Stanford students who got sent home during the pandemic, and Audrey started tutoring kids online. And she noticed that they were disengaged and uninspired, regurgitating information for Friday's test without really understanding why any of it mattered or connected to their learning. And she was helping them take their learning and make it something real. And one of the students asked for math help, and Audrey wasn't as passionate about math, so she called Alec, the Stanford aerospace engineer, and instead of drilling math equations, Alec showed students how math makes airplanes fly, and that's when they realized this is how learning should work. So they recruited their most passionate, talented peers from Stanford, and what started as one relationship has grown into, over the past 5 years, we've worked with more than 10,000 students. We have more than 800 mentors in our network, and we are so grateful to be on this journey. And to give you a little bit more of context of what that actually looks like in practice, what is Curious Cardinals? You're like, that's a cool story, but what does that actually mean? we match K through 12 students with inspiring college mentors, and we prioritize that match and connection. So maybe you have a middle school girl who loves Taylor Swift and plays volleyball and wants to learn more about biochemistry. We can find her the Stanford student who also loves Taylor Swift, who plays volleyball, who is a biochem major, who can then connect the learning in a super relatable way. And we make sure that sessions are structured and measured. So we have a lot of goal setting resources. We have a method that has worked. We've done this for 5 years. We know what it takes, and part of that structure is having consistent meetings. So students and mentors often meet weekly to really drive that consistency. And at the end of the day, our goal is to help inspire kids to have a love of learning and connect their learning to what matters to them. That's our North Star. That's why we do this. And what that looks like tangibly is we have two main tracks at Curious Cardinals. We have academic mentorship and passion projects. So academic mentorship is like tutoring, except we say tutoring is the T word because it has a connotation of being transactional for Friday's test, and this is so much more than that. It's holistic support, and again, connecting learning to what matters and helping kids develop study strategies and not only improve their grades and performance, but also improve their confidence in class. And then passion projects, which are really the fruit of what we do. And we have kind of 4 pillars within the passion project track, and that's building a portfolio. So that's really popular for our art and engineering students who want to do a couple projects and really put together a breadth of work. And we have our research track. So maybe you want to write a research paper or present at a conference. You can launch an organization. So that could be a nonprofit, it could be a business. Or we have students on the content creation track. Maybe we have some future Mom Sense podcasters taking lead from our amazing, talented people in our network. And I'll share a couple examples of what those projects actually look like in practice in the coming slides. But in addition to those 2 main tracks, we also offer executive functioning support and pathfinding. So if your kid comes to us and they don't yet know what they want to do, that's totally okay. In just a minute, I'll also share our magic project formula and show you how we go through the process of passion excavation and help kids find what they're passionate about. But just to share a couple student stories, I picked a few to show kind of the different ages we work with. So we work with K through 12 students. This is Armand. Armand is one of our amazing, gifted and talented younger students. He is a 3rd grader in the Bay Area, and he is so amazing and inspiring. And he invented a copper bar of soap that never runs out and never expires. So he is doing hands-on petri dish experiments in his living room with his Stanford mentor, Akash, who's amazing, and they are working together to create this copper bar of soap that Armand envisions is something that could be used in countries where access to water is more limited, where resources are more limited, and it's super cool to see his amazing young creative mind and what he's capable of. And then we have Karis. Karis is a middle schooler who's working with us to develop a youth nonprofit where she works with people who have Alzheimer's and dementia, and she has gone into elder care homes and connected with them and created this multi-generational amazing project where she's helping create experiences that give youth the experience of volunteering and then introduce play-based experiences for people with dementia because it's been shown to be super effective. And that's just one other example. Here we have Sloan. Sloan is amazing. She has done research on orbital. It all goes over my head. I'm not smart enough for this because I'm not a science person, but she's super cool, and she works with a mentor named Adelaide who studies aerospace at Stanford. And Sloan is so impressive that NASA reached out to her to publish her mission concept. And so this is just kind of the gamut of whether you're in 3rd grade or 10th grade like Sloan, the possibilities are endless. And then I'll share one more example of the impressive student stories. This is Josh. Josh started working with us and he came to us and he's really run the gamut of doing kind of all 4 of the pillars. So Josh was born with clubfoot and he wanted to provide resources to other kids who have clubfoot, and so he started a nonprofit called Clubfoot Connect, and through this nonprofit he's done research, he's done summer internships, he's had a blog, blog. He's created this amazing organization, and now Josh is a freshman at Penn. And so those are kind of the super big, amazing, impressive student stories. But to break down what it actually takes to get there, what that looks like in practice, I want to share our magic project formula. So this is Rose. Rose started a profitable jewelry business, and I want to break down how. So we have what we call our magic project formula. We think about what a kid's interest is, what their skill set is, and who they want to serve with this project. And for Rose, we asked her, what are you curious about? And she had a love of jewelry. She is the girliest girly girl. She always loved fashion and pink and all the fun girly things. And then we were like, amazing. What are you good at? What are your superpowers? If you were to get on a call with our family admissions team, someone like Sophie who's listening in on this call, you would have a series of questions with them, and they would ask things like, what are your kids' superpowers? And for Rose, that looked like an ability to influence and sell. We told her she could be a great marketer because all of her friends are always looking to her for advice on the coolest, fun new trend. And we then matched her to Phoebe. Phoebe is the president of the Fashion Club of Brown. She now works for Louis Vuitton in Paris. And Phoebe is someone who has the fashion expertise and guidance to help Rose develop out her business and turn it into something real. And the result of all that hard work is that Rose has an amazing, thriving jewelry business that she started as a ninth grader. This is just the beginning of her journey. She had $10,000 in revenue last year. She donates a portion of the profits to a maternal health care nonprofit. She's partnered with Love Shack Fancy. She does trunk shows. She's doing amazing, cool things. And that's just one student story. We've worked with 10,000 students over the past few years, and I will turn it over to Kanika to share a little bit about what her kids have worked on with mentors.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jules. This was excellent. I was taking notes myself, and I want to just have my own powwow with Armand, Kara, Sloan, Josh, Rose, and all of their parents. Because I think it's so important that we exchange notes. And at the end of the day, we just want to see our kids thrive, be happy, and be successful in what they excel at and what they love. It's that sliver of the Venn diagram that we're looking for our kids. So for me, I met Audrey through a friend. I want to give her a shout out. It was Candace Nelson. She's the founder of Sprinkles, my favorite cupcake on the planet. And she said, you need to meet Audrey Wish. She has an amazing company. And so then we connected and totally hit it off. I had her on the podcast. And then I said, now I need to I know the proof is in the pudding. I need my kids to go through Curious Cardinals program. I want them to have mentors. And so they did, and they were in first grade at the time. The twins did this. And what I loved most, starting from the beginning, was the process of deciding who that mentor is. You really have your product market fit down to a science, and I love it. So it was like, okay, so what does this child really like you mentioned in the beginning, the interests. I know, for instance, my youngest, Trey, has such a deep knowledge of dinosaurs. And so in his case, it was like, I remember when he was like 3, he was going through this dinosaur encyclopedia and said, this is Yanchuanosaurus from China. I was like, oh my goodness, how do you know this? So there was just such a, just passion that he had from such a young age. So of course he was paired with a mentor who was majoring in paleontology, and was like, okay, this is a perfect fit. For my other kids, when they were in first grade, they learned CAD, and they're twins. They both wanted to kind of dip their toes into mechanical engineering, and I love that they learned this. I was, in liberal arts and humanities, so was never exposed to software like this as an elementary schooler. And they worked with their mentor, Sharayu, who was a sophomore at Stanford. And what they got out of it was not just these one-on-one interactive, virtual sessions with a cool college kid who taught them a ton. I think, I was most impressed by sure, are you coming prepared? She had an entire presentation or deck for each lesson, and or would progress through what she had made and made each one interactive. And I think that was pivotal, especially with those younger years where they don't have the attention span, and nor do we want them on the screen for so long. So you want them to be doing other things. And so I love that she came with a plan in mind to get them talking, to get them clicking on the mouse and manipulating the designs they were making. And I appreciate that. So like the mentors were really well curated, exactly who my kids kind of related to, and they did the hard work.
I'm so happy to hear that, and thank you so much for sharing your experience and love the Candace connection. Candace is another amazing Curious Cardinal supporter. We've been grateful to work with her and her kids, and so fun that she introduced you to us, and we're again so grateful to have you in our network of people. So, just to share a little bit more about Curious Cardinals and really highlight that mentor quality that Kanika was just sharing, I want to spotlight our amazing mentors who are truly the best of the best. They are our differentiators. They are presidents of clubs. They are winners of awards. They are D1 scholar or D1 athletes and Rhodes scholars, and they're so amazing and inspiring. And I'm gonna highlight just a couple of them. And then we actually have a mentor on the call, so not to put him on the spot, but if he is up for it, would love to have Aranyo speak as well briefly. But this is Yusuf. Yusuf is one of our amazing mentors. He's studying biomedical engineering at Columbia, and he helps students in math and science and all sorts of topics like that. And this is Cece. Cece is an amazing Dartmouth grad. She's one of the original Curious Cardinals mentors who is now an award-winning filmmaker. And these are just two of the examples of the types of people that your kid could work with. Kanika shared her kid's mentor, Sario. The possibilities really are endless. And if you're sitting here right now thinking, are you sure that you can give a reliable college student, put someone in front of my kid? As Kanika shared, we do vet our mentors very thoroughly, and they come prepared to every session, but we have a super competitive application process that goes through, and we find the best of the best, and then we give them onboarding and training and support from our Stanford and Harvard Graduate School of education team. Like we have amazing people who are here in our network who can support so that our college students can do what they do best, which is engage with and inspire your kids, and then have the support and scaffolding and resourcing from our team. And then we also have amazing access to a curriculum library. I can share that my experience as a mentor, it's been super awesome to have all the resources from our team. And then you get feedback and reviews. And so monthly we get in our email our digest, and it's one of my favorite emails to see, and it tells me all the things I'm doing well and all the things I could be doing better as a mentor. And it's just a great resource and a great tool to have. And Aranyo, before I talk about how Curious Cardinals works, if you're up for it and you're on the Zoom, feel free to jump in and share. And if you don't want to, that's also totally fine.
No, I would love to. I mean, I just joined to support, and I wanted to hear about all the amazing work that Kanika and her team have been doing as well. And yeah, I've been mentoring for the last 3 months. I went to Yale. I graduated in 24, studied computer science and psychology. And when I was in high school, I always wanted a mentor like the ones that CC has. I did end up getting like a very good close family friend, but I think not everyone has that obviously opportunity, and I want to be that person for people that I meet on CC, and I help them. Like a lot of my students now, I work with 11 right now. uh, you could say I'm a little bit on the higher side because I really really like mentoring these amazingly smart and fast kids. And everyone is so unique, right? Like I learn a lot from helping them build their projects. We just finished applying to the Presidential AI Challenge last month, and now we are applying for other competitions. So you can, anything you can imagine, right? Davidson Fellows, Blue Ocean. I think CC kids turn out really well, and they are like within a few months of just interacting with them, I see how more ambitious and confident they get, which is really amazing and really exciting for me as an educator. Yeah, and I saw a question about neurodivergent students. So I do have a student with ADHD, and I think like CC does give a lot of support. And I was matched with that student because my brother also has ADHD. So there's a lot of this internal matching, like a lot of factors that go on in it. And he's actually one of my smartest, like fastest learners, just because he's so focused. And then, I try to support him manage his symptoms per se, with all the resources that CC has inbuilt, which is amazing. Like, I've worked with a few other companies, but none of them have such a vast tech and resource backbone that CC does.
Amazing. Thank you, Aranyo, for sharing. And Aranyo's a very humble, so I will hype him up for just a minute and say that Aranyo is one of our top mentors. He is super impressive and amazing. Audrey wrote a newsletter about how amazing Aranyo is, so let me see if I can pull that up and share it with you all in the chat. Aranyo is an ISEF award winner. He has helped his students win awards. He's a Congressional App Challenge Award winner and Diana Award recipient. He is amazing. He is a great example of someone your kid could work with. And we are so lucky to have him in our network. And why is Substack not letting me share? He is super awesome. And I will find that newsletter link in just a second and drop it in the chat when I can.
I wanted to add something while you're searching.
Yes.
What I think is just a full circle moment is, for those who have elementary school, middle school, high school kids, especially the young kids, because I'm in the elementary phase myself. What I aspire, and I hope they do too, is to become the CC mentor when they're in college. It's like the best feedback loop of paying it forward, because they know exactly what your child is going through when they were young. And, kids are fickle. They don't understand, sometimes they don't understand concepts. And then in the end, realize that like, this is actually what I really want to deep dive into. And you need someone to just give you that spark. And so if they can do that when they're older, like that would be amazing. And so having the exposure at a young age allows them to see what's possible.
Yes, I love that. That's so beautiful. And I found the link for Aranyo, so I will share it because he is amazing. And I will also, since we're on the topic of neurodivergent learners and Aranyo answered it live, I will share that we love working with gifted and talented younger students. And often those are people who are in that twice exceptional category of kids who have ADHD and autism and other learning differences. And we are honored to work with them. Even kids in this presentation, stories that we've shared are kids in that category who are amazing and achieving great things. And we have, as Aranyo shared, a resource library that allows us to be able to support students. We have an executive functioning curriculum that we've built out. So our mentors are people who might have experience, like Aranyo said, of working with his brother who has ADHD. It's something they're familiar with, or I can speak to my experience as a mentor as someone who also has ADHD. I have been able to work with students who have ADHD and share the tips and strategies and things that work for me. And we have many mentors in our network who are also in that category of people who understand what it's like and can help your kids and show them that they can do amazing things and achieve amazing things even if they have learning differences. And we will answer more questions and open it up to Q&A in just a minute. But before then, I'll share how it works. If all of this sounds interesting and exciting and you want to get started with Curious Cardinals, just to share a little bit more of what it would look like. Students and mentors meet weekly on our platform. We make scheduling really easy, so you have a calendar link and you can schedule times with the mentor directly on our platform. And then parents receive notes after every session, so you don't have to nag about what was covered. Especially I know if you're the parent of a teenager, then I can speak as someone who has a teenage brother. If I asked my brother what he did today, he would say stuff. He'd be like, "How was it? Fine. You want to tell me about the stuff? Would you do things?" But these notes really give parents the context of knowing what their kids covered. And one parent framed it as, instead of asking my kid what they did, I can ask them how it went. And so the dinner table conversation is started for you. And you can say, "I heard you worked on this really cool, exciting project today. Would love to hear more about it." And then we also give bigger progress reports. So every 4 sessions, you get a bigger update. And then on a quarterly basis, you receive an engagement report that shares a little bit more about what your kid's been working on. And then that allows us to set new goals and reevaluate what those goals look like on a quarterly basis. So this is Annalise on the screen. I can briefly share her experience. And she built out this amazing mental health curriculum that she's now going to teach to middle schoolers. And so When Audrey and I had the pleasure of meeting Annalise in person, and she was showing off her amazing mental health education curriculum, and we were like, Annalise, you have to put this out into the world, and we made her write out SMART goals right then and there with us of what she's doing, and she just emailed us this weekend to say, hey, I've set up my event and I'm going to teach this to local kids at my local library, and I have this expert coming in. And that's what the goal setting process looks like and actual process. And then in terms of how to sign up, if you're interested, you would speak to our family admissions team. That's someone like Sophie or Sergio, I know was mentioned in the chat. And Sophie's here on this call, and I'll let her share the link to schedule a call in the chat. And then one of those people would ask you lots of questions about your kids. Like I said, they're going to ask what their superpowers are, what they're good at, what their strengths or areas for growth are, and figure out what your goals are. And then once we have all of that information, we take everything that you share about your kid and everything we know about our mentors and find their dream mentor match. And then kids and mentors start meeting. And that's what the process looks like. And then to also share and plug really quick before we open it up to Q&A, we love giving kids something to build toward. So we have our Timeless Skills in an AI era pitch competition. We hosted it this summer. Armand was our honorable mention, and Sloan, who we also talked about, got second, and Karis got third. I didn't even realize that I put in all these amazing Timeless Skills pitch competition from the summer winners, and we're excited that this spring it's open to all students, so students can build alone or with the Curious Cardinals mentor, and they can build from now until May 9th when submissions are due. And then the finalists will pitch to industry leading judges who we haven't announced yet, but they're amazing, so get excited. And winners will earn $2,500. And then we also haven't announced yet, but we have an amazing sponsor, and we're so excited about the Time Skills in an AIR pitch competition. So it's a great resource for students to have. And without further ado, I will open it up to questions. I know Sophie shared the link if you want to schedule a call with our team. And I see one question, and we can start by answering Ridu's question, and then we'll open it up to others. You're welcome to put in questions in the chat or unmute and ask live. But in terms of curriculum development and what feedback looks like, it's kind of multifaceted. So we have our education team, which has Stanford and Harvard Graduate School of Education educators on there. We have a lot of former educators on our team. Sophie, who's on this call, used to be a teacher at Chapin. And Ian, who's on our team, also used to be a teacher. We have lots of former educators on our team and people who have that classroom knowledge and experience. And then mentors also are subject matter experts. They are people like Aranyo who know what it takes to win awards and can help your kids win the same awards and are studying this in school or have studied it and know what it's like and can help build out the right things and tools that your kids would need. And the feedback is powered by the AI insights on our platform, and we record every session, and there's amazing work that goes into the back end of making sure that we have consistent experiences and that everyone is getting the best experience. So happy to answer any other questions people have, so feel free to write in the chat or unmute and ask questions live.
I have a question. I started typing it and then it became too much, so I stopped typing. But
Perfect.
I'm just like kind of exploring this, and I guess what we were trying to look to see if this is the right forum for is mainly like I have an 8th grader and an older daughter, and me and my husband are both in medicine. Like we don't know anything outside of medicine. I have no clue what business, engineering, any other careers are for the most part. And I just want my son to but I don't think he'd know either, right? Like, so he just doesn't seem like medicine's going to be for him, but I want him to like really understand as my older daughter is going through college applications now, and like knowing what school you want to go to it's more important than when we were younger and we were all undecided. I feel like going into like business and engineering schools is like a whole animal that I'd want him early to just, but how would that work if the mentor, is there like an exploration type of thing where before the mentorship is, because I don't know what he would choose, what direction really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. We have a pathfinding track So it's kind of like a precursor to the passion project track if you don't yet know what you're interested in. And so someone like Sophie would ask you questions on a consultation call, and she would ask questions about what your child's interested in, and what they do when no one's telling them what to do. And just like on a base level, even if not knowing where you want to go to college yet or what you want to study in college,
Yeah.
it's totally okay
He
and
wants to play
understandable as an
soccer
eighth
all the
grader.
time. I mean,
Right.
that's where
And so
he's at, but
we could find him a amazing soccer player mentor who can then relate to him on the soccer front. And Sophie and our team would ask a lot of questions about what your kid is like and figure out kind of at least like the intro of who's a near peer mentor who could be a relatable person to talk to your kid about soccer. And then that mentor can go through the pathfinding process of figuring out how can we turn your interest into a project and let it evolve over time. And then let's say like 3 months in, you're like, okay, actually, like he wants to pivot and shift to this, and maybe the current mentor can help, or maybe we have a rematch and move to a different mentor who's better suited at whatever the pivot is. But we definitely have people who can do what we call our passion excavation process and really help figure out what it is that your kid is interested in. And you don't have to come to us with an idea on day one. So I hope that helped and answered your question. What other questions can I?
I'd like to chime in. As an educator myself, I usually come to mentor type things like this, um, quite skeptical, and you guys have really hit all the buzzwords for me, and I'm thoroughly impressed. And I guess what I believe her name was Sheetal was saying is, I'm not really, my kids are younger. I'm not really sure exactly what they're interested in. So you kind of answered my question about how they're able to, hone in on what they are interested in. And you've shared so many awesome experiences. So I just wanted to chime in to say that I'm just normally I'm quite negative about these types of things, but I'm just so impressed. I teach kids with dyslexia and any language-based learning differences. Most of them have ADHD and executive functioning issues, and the fact that you guys even mentioned it is huge and so different than any other company or institution that I've talked to about this type of program. So just thank you for that.
Thank you for joining and giving us a chance and being open-minded. Kudos to you, and I appreciate the thoughtful insights. And yes, we are lucky to be able to have the mentor base of people who have different experiences and can support different things. And I love Aranyo's fun fact in the chat of his fourth grade mentee building a game to help his peers with dyscalculia. That's so cool, Aranyo. Aranyo's so cool, and his students are so cool. And we have amazing students who are doing amazing things. We have a student right now who's building a curriculum to teach younger kids about the superpowers of having ADHD and dyslexia based on her experience. And we definitely want to champion all types of different learners. We see tons of different students. Having worked with 10,000 different students, we've seen the disengaged kid who has one-word answers and doesn't care about school. We've seen the super ambitious kid who wants to get ahead and wants to use this project as their launch pad to go to a school like Stanford. And we see kind of everything in between. And we love working with a wide variety of students and seeing what they're capable of. And to answer another question in the chat, yes, it's once a week on Zoom. Most often, that's what we've seen works well, and it's a great process. Any other questions we can answer? Yes.
Yeah. For older kids who are in high school, do you do an intake with them? Because, I can only tell you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are happy to do a consult call. We usually like to say if your kid is in middle or high school and they're able to join the consultation call, we love to have them there to speak. And whether it's maybe you take the first 10 minutes and they take the second 10 minutes or whatever format works well. There's so many different like options of, but we want your kid to have agency in the process and to be able to share what they're passionate about, what they're interested in. And you're welcome to have them join if that's of interest. There's not like we're not prescriptive. This is a super personalized and individualized process. So I'm not telling you that they have to be there or that that's the only option. But if you feel like that would be helpful, we would always love to have older students there, especially.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. any other questions I can answer? Any questions for Kanika? If you have questions about the parent experience, we're happy to answer anything that we can. And if there aren't any questions, I'll be mindful of everyone's time. I know it's a busy week and it's a Thursday, and we're so grateful that you all joined us in the middle of the day. I will stay on the call if anyone has any more questions. Happy to answer anything that people have, but also we'll be mindful of letting people go and giving people a couple minutes back, and I'll share the link in the chat one more time of booking a consultation call if you're interested. And Julie, we're so excited to have your kiddos participate too. Can't wait for them to get started. Kanika, we're so grateful that you spent time with us this morning. If there's anything else you want to add, I'll give you the floor, but no pressure.
Oh, thank you, Jules and Sophie. No, I'm so glad to see this engaged bunch, and I think that as parents, the onus does kind of lie on us to get our kids these resources. I know when we are seeking mentors, we go out, we go to networking events, we mix around, and it's so much easier for us. But our kids don't have that access, and I think there's so much growth and learning that can happen outside of the classroom. And so it's up to us to find those resources for them. And I'm so glad I did.
We're so grateful to be in contact with you and to have had the opportunity to work with your kids. And again, so grateful to everyone who took the time to join us today. And yes, Ari, we can share a recording and we'll follow up with a summary over email.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a great day. And thank you again for joining us. And Kanika, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning.
Absolutely. Keep doing the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.